Hello everyone, I'm the Clark Knight, and today I'm going to be doing a review for the game Pinstripe. And this game is by Thomas Bush. He was kickstarted, I think, about a year and a half ago. I think 2015 in the fall. That sounds about right. And with this game, I actually did kickstart it, so I'm going to just put that out there now. I'm going to try to leave all my bias and try to do a fair review, but just letting you guys know I did kickstart this game, so take that into consideration. Along with that, I'm also going to just show the first bits from the game. Usually I would show a lot of different parts from and throughout the game, but in this scenario the game's not too long, so I don't want to spoil anything that is further than the first 15 minutes. So Pinstripe presents a really delightful representation of hell, and that's really unusual and you don't see that much, but I really did love the atmosphere in the game. That was probably the high point of the game for me. At times, it felt as if it was a more colorful version of a Tim Burton book, and despite being 6 feet under, the environment and cast charmed me to the very end. So while navigating through the rich scenery, the Pinstripe's protagonist Ted is searching for his daughter Bo, who at the beginning of the game was captured by Pinstripe, and the story wasn't incredibly complex, but it does tell a tale that is fitting for the environment and the scenery, and everything was really fleshed out by the end of the game, so I do have to give him props for the story. So in the game, it's a platformer, and it includes puzzles and combat, and I think what you want to focus on is the puzzles. I do have a lot of problems with combat, which I guess I should get into first. So there's two options throughout the game. You can either jump on their heads or you can shoot them with slingshots. Most of the time it's the slingshot option, but these type of combat doesn't really feel intuitive, and it just kind of got boring throughout. And the problem I had was not so much with the combat, but when you died. So I died a handful of times just because I only have 3 little health hearts, and when I did die, it puts you in like the opposite corner of the map. I felt like every time I die, I'd be like, alright, now I have to backtrack all the way through this area that I've already been through. And granted, all the puzzles would be solved still, but I felt like it was a hassle that you'd have to go through the game and fight a tedious monster, and then if you die, you have to do this tedious process, get back to the tedious monster, which I felt like it could have been done better. It wouldn't have been much of a problem if they just spawned you right next to the monster, and maybe thought of a different way the combat could have went, something just a little more up my alley, something a little more intuitive. But yes, as I said, the puzzles were excellent. There was a lot of different puzzles. There was a nice variety. They were all smooth and rewarding. None of them were overly hard, and I think it really did make up for the combat. A good example of puzzles would be the ones that I like the most, where you'd be given an item and there'd be all this stuff written on it, and then you'd have to kind of decipher the code and what would be the code that you'd punch in to unlock this door or unlock this chest. And I did enjoy those puzzles. And then there's all the classic puzzles like, oh, shoot the slingshot through the fire to hit this, Zelda style, but the puzzles were a high point of the game. I think a major news point for the game is that it had these YouTube stars voice acting in it, including PewDiePie, Jacksepticeye, I believe, Nathan Sharp from Nate Wants to Battle, Game Grumps, and I was skeptical going into the game like, are they going to be very good? Is this going to kind of take the illusion out of the game? It's going to remove me from the environment? But no, it actually added towards it. None of the dialogue was overly serious, and these characters really kind of dictated the mood of the game throughout, and I think the voice acting was very well done. My favorite of the group was being Mr. Dickey and Miss Birdie. So again, about the time, it took me a little under 4 hours to beat the game on my first run, which felt fairly quick, but there's a lot to do afterwards, and there's puzzles and other things that are added on, but for the most part it's more of a new game plus type deal. So honestly, the game's only around 4 hours. And I did feel one part was kind of forced. I remember Thomas Brush was saying they added this on because the game did feel short, and I think I pinpointed the part. It's where you have to go back and get coins to advance through, and you get to a point where they're like, you need 300 coins, and you only have 150 that you can possibly collect at that point, so you have to go scour for more. The puzzles back there are kind of fun, but I felt like it was kind of a hassle to backtrack, and I wasn't really making progress towards my main objective. But yes, this atmosphere-driven game is a perfect example of quality over quantity, and I think it is worth it. I would check it out, you guys. This might just be me, because this kind of game is right up my alley. I love the aesthetic, I love the environment, I'm a big puzzles guy. So if any of that sounds like stuff you'd be interested in, then go check Pinstripe out. It's out on Steam right now. I believe it's 10% off up until May, and yeah, it's around $15, $13 with the 10 off. But yeah, thank you guys for watching this review, and if you like more stuff like this, come check out my channel, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.